If you want to know how to cash in on some sports where people are punching each other in the face, you've come to the right place. A little combat edition here of Wager Talk Extra. We're going to talk a little boxing and a little UFC with two of the best in the biz. Let's start it off talking a little IBF featherweight title, Gonzalez versus Lopez, as Kevin Dolan joins me here today. Kev, I'm wondering how you're going to be betting this one, because I know you always love trying to take a price that might be a little too juicy and find a way to get down a little better. It's something that you and Kyle do terrifically in these sports like boxing and UFC. So how are we betting Lopez this week?
Probably one of my favorite active current fighters, to be honest, Dan. Luis Alberto Lopez, taking on his defense of the IBF featherweight crown, as you mentioned at the start, against former world title challenger himself, Joet Gonzalez, in Texas this weekend. I've said this on the show before, I love these Mexican versus Mexican, or, Mexican versus Mexican-American fights. They always deliver in terms of action, especially down in Texas or over in California. So I'm really expecting more of the same this Friday as well.
All right, so fireworks expected. So does this one go the distance? Do we get a knockout? Do we get some knockdowns? How do you think is the best way to bet this fight that you're pretty excited for?
It's just to go back to the start. Look, it's probably lucky we're talking about this fight in September, Dan, because it's taken me months to get over the absolute battering Luis Alberto Lopez delivered out to my boy Mickey Conlon over in Belfast back in May. We covered that fight on this show. I'm still recovering from that one. But what a performance from Lopez in that fight. Conlon was saying beforehand how hard it was to get sparring partners for Lopez. He presents such a tricky, unorthodox style in the ring. The way he can lunge in at you at from various angles. It's very hard to replicate. And, just as he showed in that fight as well, he possesses serious, punching power in either hand. So there's no question Lopez, deserves to go into this one as the favorite for me. But I nevertheless think this will be a much tougher assignment from on Friday against an absolute warrior in Joet Gonzalez. Conlon fought the completely wrong fight back in May. He went against that more natural outside boxer style of his. He opted to trade inside against Lopez. Obviously a huge mistake. He got handed multiple knockdowns, a 5th round KO for his trouble. But that's not Joet Gonzalez. Being on the inside against opponents is his bread and butter in fights. He fought through a broken orbital bone against Emmanuel Navarrete, gave him a war. He gave Isaac Dogbe a war just a few months later. So this guy is absolutely teak tough. But, while he is tough, Gonzalez, he can be a little predictable for me. He enters the pocket in straight lines. He employs that shelled up, high guard as well. So I don't see a stoppage in this one. I do believe Venado Lopez simply has too many tools in his toolbox, however, to lose to a guy like Joet Gonzalez. And, he should come out on the right side of his decision in this one as a result. So Luis Alberto Lopez made a win this one by decision on Friday at -110. I like those odds.
Yeah, I love the breakdown, and I love that price as well. Lopez by decision or technical decision, -110. That's Kevin Dolan. Check him out at WagerTalk.com, and make sure you throw us a like and hit subscribe here on the WagerTalk TV YouTube channel. All right, Kev, if we're talking all about combat sports, it's only natural that we throw in the sport where you're not even allowed to breathe on people at some times. And no, we're not talking about baseball. We're talking about the pitch. EPL, Sheffield United, and Tottenham. You think there could be some scoring in this one, right, Kev?
I do. From a site perspective, books obviously expecting this to be pretty one-sided. But whether that's the case or not, as you mentioned, I like goals in this one on Saturday. Looking at the both teams to score here at -115, Dan, Tottenham did manage to keep a clean sheet in their one home game of the season so far against Manchester United. They did it again against Bournemouth 3 weeks ago as well. But I still have my reservations about this Tottenham defense overall. Man United should have scored in them in that sole home win we just talked about. They had more XG in that game. They had 22 attempts on goal as well. Casemiro could have scored. Rashford could have scored multiple times in the first half alone. Anthony crashed the ball off the bar. So, Tottenham really have been living a little dangerously at the back over recent games, despite those two shutout results. And they face a Sheffield United team in this one that, look, well, they're not exactly PSG in attack. They have scored in all but one of the Premier League games so far this season. So, it'd be a massive shock, obviously, if Tottenham failed to score at home in this one, especially after putting 5 past Burnley in their last game. So basically all we need to cash this ticket is Sheffield United to get in the scoreboard, just once here. And that's something I believe they can do this weekend down in London. So, yeah, both teams to score for me in this one, minus 115. Again, I like that price.
Both teams to score. Don't care who wins. My Pavlos impression needs a little work there, Kevin. But don't care who wins. Both teams to score. The yes on that one. You want more soccer plays? Make sure you hit that little bell so you don't miss stoppage time. We got one coming your way on Thursday. Kevin Dolan alongside the soccer crew breaking down some winners. And there you got a little EPL, both teams to score. Also broke down some boxing. Hop below in the comments. Let us know what you're eyeing inside the ring this weekend. We're going to step aside while you're down there dropping that content or dropping that comment. And we're going to get Kyle Anthony up and ready to go. Talk a little UFC right here on WagerTalk Extra. And I doubt anything will be more shocking than what we saw in the UFC last weekend with Adesanya going down. But Kyle Anthony going to find us some winners. That's never a shocker. It's what he does here, folks. And he's got a 5%er rocking. But first, let's talk a little Shevchenko and Grasso. This is UFC Fight Night. How are you going to be betting this fight, Kyle?
Yeah, this is an interesting one here. We got the rematch. You've got Valentina Shevchenko. She's minus 165. On the comeback here, you've got Alexa Grasso plus 140. Now, this opened up Shevchenko minus 275, and money has come in on Grasso for all the right reasons. I get it. Listen, that first fight, there's a lot of takeaways, and there's probably too much to even go over in this one time to talk about it because there were so many takeaways. But one of the biggest ones, I think, was really that first round for Valentina Shevchenko. And that was really where Grasso, I thought, really surprised Shevchenko with her striking, the elevation of her striking defense. She clipped Shevchenko in that first round. And I think that kind of took her out of her game slightly. But I think a lot of people only really remember that first round and that ending sequence in that fourth round, because second and third round was all Shevchenko. She went out there, outlanded her, took her down a couple times, controlled her a couple times from top position, ground and pounding her. Even into that fourth round, Shevchenko was still winning. She was doing all the right things, landing, and she does that spinning kick, kind of a crazy situation where it ends. She gets the submission. But at that time, the live line was around minus 1,000 for Shevchenko. So she was well on her way to getting that victory, but things changed. Now, if you look at Grasso, yes, she's elevated her striking. Yes, she's, definitely getting more, I think, compact with her striking. But I think for her in this spot, she has to really push the pace. She has to get in Shevchenko's face, defend those takedowns, and push the volume. Because if you look at really Shevchenko overall, I mean, she could be low volume in spots. She could definitely kind of and she can throw certain strikes where, hey, if she can kind of throw that counter, she can land. But I think with Shevchenko here, she's got that jab, she's got those takedown ability, and that to me really is going to be where she can go out there and find a ton of success, going out, getting some takedowns, getting that control time. And I think also the part of it too here is I think she can out-muscle Grasso also. Grasso definitely has, jiu-jitsu ability. I'm not saying that, but on top, Shevchenko can be heavy, she can be controlling, and I think there's certain areas where she allowed Grasso to kind of get up. Not allowed her to get up, I shouldn't say that, but really Grasso worked her way up. And I think that Shevchenko is going to really have that game plan, look to level change, look to counter, look to really push the pace a little bit, and that will be her way. She's more methodical. She's definitely has more, strategic when it comes to that first round, get her reads. And I think that first round could be competitive, but I think Shevchenko really opens it up in that second and third and fourth round, really opening up, landing, getting that control time. And if you look at this fight happened 6 months ago. So it's not that this fight took place years ago, that second fight. There's only so much improvement that each one of these ladies can do. And it wasn't like Grasso went out there and schooled her for 5 rounds. She was losing the fight and ended up finding a great opportunity to get the finish. So here, we're getting a massive discount on Shevchenko here, one of the best females of all time. And the last fight, it closed at around minus 1,200 for Shevchenko. Live line just before it ended was minus 1,000. Now we're looking at Shevchenko pre-flop, she's minus 165. I like Shevchenko here. I mean, there has to be more to it here. I think Shevchenko can go out there, outland her, win on the scorecards. I do always look for that plus money, Dan. I'm looking for that. But this right spot here, it's such a good discount on Shevchenko. Yeah. I think she goes out there. She can definitely get the victory. Plus, if you are looking for that if maybe a little bit plus money, maybe we do Shevchenko via points, which is plus 150, but the minus 165, I think is nice.
No, and that's a lot of people might look at a minus 165 and be like, oh, the juice is crazy. Like, that is a discount when you're talking about UFC. The fact that you're getting the former champ in a revenge spot and you're only paying an extra, what would that be, 55 cents off of the customary 110? I'm right there with you, man. Don't get cute. Lay the minus 165. Couldn't agree more. And I always just blindly agree with Kyle, typically, when we're talking UFC. He's off a 5% winner. Nice even money cash. He's got 3 plays up in a package. Just $25 will get you his 5% play. Those have been some of the best bets that you could make at WagerTalk.com. So check him out, wt.buzz/KA. All right, one more fight for the folks. Also one that has a decently large favorite in Della Maddalena taking on Kevin Holland. So how are we thinking in this JDM fight? Which way are we looking?
Yeah, so in this fight here, you've got JDM. He's going to be the minus 150 mark. You've got Kevin Holland on the other side, the plus 130. And listen, Jack, fantastic boxing, power, quick hands, all those things. The other side, the rangy striking of Kevin Holland, and he's well-rounded. A lot of people don't realize how well-rounded Kevin Holland really is. But if you look at Jack and his paths, it's really been getting inside, utilizing that fantastic boxing, comes inside, has pressure. One of the things that he does really fantastic is really dig into the body. Fantastic body shots, mixing it up. That opens up a lot of the head shots for him as well, too. And that really has been his path to success, going out there and doing that. Now, I think the biggest issue here for JDM is going to be getting inside and cutting that distance of Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland's going to have an 8-inch reach advantage. He's going to have a 4-inch height advantage. And that, to me, is already tough for a guy who is predominantly a boxer who needs to get in boxing range. And Kevin has to throw the straight shots, pull out the jab, mix it up a little bit. And that, to me, really starts to make things difficult for JDM. Plus, this is a spot where Kevin Holland does not have to worry about takedowns. That has been a kryptonite for him. He definitely talks about not wanting to even wrestle or anything at any point, even in training, although he has those credentials. This is a spot here where he can freely move forward. He can freely move forward. He can be relaxed. He can throw his strikes. He can really get in there. He's very dynamic. He also throws his combinations at very different angles. And to me, that just gives a lot of opportunity for Kevin Holland. I don't think he's going to be diving at legs for 3 rounds, but I think mixing it up will help him. Having that range will help him, and he's more explosive, I think. That's going to help him also, too. But I think also this line is moving a little bit because there's times where Kevin Holland does a lot of stupid shit. There's times where he just does not do the right thing, and you saw it with Wonderboy Thompson where he could have gotten top control in certain spots, probably won that fight, or at least made it way more competitive. He gets injured, and then he's diving for takedowns desperately in like the last round. So this is a spot where I think he's going to be a little bit more smart. There are paths for him. There are no takedown worry for him. I think he moves forward. Plus, if you look at just the competition level, it's nowhere close. I really like Kevin Holland here. I think the money's coming in on the wrong side. I like Kevin Holland, plus 130. He gets the job done, and we're going to go grab that plus money.
Looking to grab the plus money and also looking to bet the under on dumb shit Kevin Holland does in this fight. That's his best bet, and my best bet is grabbing the under on that one. Kyle, always great chatting with you, brother. Like we mentioned, that 5%er, you want to grab it. The profits continue to climb with this guy inside the octagon, so check him out. And that does it for another week here of Wager Talk Extra. Big thanks to Kevin Dolan getting you ready to go inside the ring. Big thanks to Kyle Anthony getting you ready to go inside the octagon. You like the content, hit that like button, hit subscribe, and you don't have to go anywhere because betting on all the sports you love has never been easier because it's just a click away getting the info you need right here at Wager Talk TV.